Welcome back to DONSLIFE and welcome to the channel. At first glance, this looks like GM is trying to hide something. New documents on the NHTSA's website show a request from GM to keep information confidential. And that immediately raises questions. But when you actually read through what's going on here, it tells a very different story. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what was submitted, what's being kept confidential, and what that really means for the 6.2 liter L87 owners right now. And stick around to the end because I have another story from one of the DONSLIFE channel subscribers that we're going to talk about today when it comes to his experience with his L87 replacement engine. Let's go. So let's jump right into it. Two new documents were added to the NHTSA investigation. These are tied to information request EA25007-01. If you don't remember what that request for information was, I reported on it about a month ago, and the NHTSA had issued a request to General Motors asking for detailed data on engine failures, warranty claims, and internal investigations related to the 6.2 liter L87 engines. And they wanted more than just what's captured in the recall window. These two new documents specifically reference questions 2 and question 6 from that initial request. Now, at first glance, they're very short, they're almost easy to overlook, but what they say is actually important. Both documents state that GM is requesting confidential business information protection, and not just partial, but for the entirety of each document. So that immediately raises the question, what's in those documents? This is where it's easy to jump to the wrong conclusion. GM is not refusing to provide information, they are complying with the request. They are submitting the data, but they are asking that it not be made public. This falls under confidential business information, or CBI for short. And this is governed under federal regulation. It allows companies to share detailed internal data with the NHTSA without exposing that data publicly. Imagine things like internal reports, supplier info, engineering analysis. So the NHTSA gets full visibility, but what we see publicly is limited. And this is where things start to get more interesting, because when you look at what the NHTSA is actually asking for, it explains exactly why this information would be protected. The NHTSA is asking GM for every complaint tied to these engines. Consumer complaints, dealer reports, field reports, even legal cases. And they've already identified over 225 reports of engine failure. And this is key. These are vehicles not included in the recall. So this is outside the current recall scope. Many of these describe sudden loss of power, which is a serious safety concern. But it doesn't stop there. They're also asking for detailed warranty data. This includes VIN level tracking, mileage at the time of failure, repair details, and technician notes. This is how patterns get identified across thousands of vehicles. This isn't surface level information. This is a deep data analysis. But in this section is where things really start to matter. The NHTSA is asking about specific engine components, crankshafts, bearings, pistons, lifters, and importantly, the suppliers of those components. They want to know if different suppliers produce different results. They're also asking about design differences, manufacturing differences, and changes over time. This is exactly how root cause gets identified. So when you look at that level of detail, now the confidentiality requests start to make a lot more sense. This includes internal engineering analysis, supplier relationships, failure data, and testing results. This is sensitive, competitive, and highly technical information. And this is standard in investigations like this. This does not mean that GM is refusing to cooperate. It does not mean that they're hiding everything. And maybe most importantly, it does not mean that the investigation is slowing down. In fact, it's the opposite. What this actually tells us is that the investigation is now in a deeper phase. The NHTSA is analyzing the data, looking at patterns, and working towards identifying root cause. This often is the stage where major decisions get made. If you own a 6.2 liter L87 and have an experience you'd like to share, I'd love to hear from you. You can put it in the comment section below. You could reach out to me via email or on my website. There's a link to contact me at donslife.com. And while there, support the channel, maybe pick up one of the new DONSLIFE logo hats or go with one of the originals that are also available on the site. Now, if you've been watching these videos for a while as it relates to the 6.2 liter L87 recall, as well as the testing I've been doing on my non-recalled 6.2 liter L87 in my GMC Sierra AT4, you'd know that sometimes I share stories from viewers. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm going to share the story high level for the information that I have right now. But I have one of the subscribers to the channel, his name is John. I'm going to go through the email that he sent me, and if it's something that you want to learn more about, I will request the documents which he's offered to share with me so we can get a deeper insight into his experience. So this is the time in the comment section below. If you want to know more about John's story and more about the details, he says he's willing to share the documents with me. I might have to redact a little bit of the personal information, but if that's something you want to see, again, comment below. But here's the high level of John's story. Hi Don, I've been following your coverage of the GM 6.2 liter L87 failures, and I'm reaching out because my situation is exactly the type of case that proves this issue has not been resolved, even after recall intervention. Here are the facts. 2024 Silverado High Country L87 6.2, initial replacement due to scope confirmation of lifter tick under recall to prevent engine failure. Full engine replacement performed under GM recall. Replacement engine failed again in about 3,000 miles while towing a 3,000 pound load 100 miles away from home. The vehicle is now out of service for about 3 months total. Now this is not a one-off failure. This is a failed recall remedy, which we know based on my videos. What's even more concerning is that GM has declined repurchase eligibility, is proceeding with another engine replacement, and has not addressed diminished value or repeat failure risk. From what I've seen in your content and what's been reported publicly, this aligns with a broader pattern. Manufacturing defects tied to crankshaft rod tolerances, early catastrophic failures, and now replacement engines failing as well. I filed with the NHTSA documenting the second failure, and I'm in the process of pursuing the Better Business Bureau auto line. I'm happy to provide repair orders, timeline, and documentation. I think this is a clear example of why this issue is still ongoing and why the current solution isn't solving anything. If you're interested in covering a real-world case that shows what happens after the recall fix fails, I'd be glad to connect. Or if you have any insight that could help me with the situation, I'd be happy to take it. Best, John. Well, thank you, John, for sharing that. I replied to your email, and I think you're on the right path when it comes to what you can do. Again, I'm Canadian. I assume that you're in the US, so your options, especially legally, are probably much different than mine, but best of luck to you. So those of you watching, if you want to learn more about John's case and follow it more closely till maybe we get to see it through the end, let me know. I'll reach out to John, and we'll make that happen for you. But there we are. There's your update. The NHTSA has 2 separate requests from GM to keep questions number 2 and questions number 6 of their information request completely confidential, because the information in there could be quite scathing, maybe a PR nightmare for GM, and they definitely want to contain that info because there's things in there they wouldn't want the general public or their competition to know. It's just too bad we've gotten to this point. And at some point, I'm going to need to replace my truck. So I'm definitely going to have a conversation with all of you that watch this channel, and we'll try to figure out what's right when that time comes. But on that note, this video is coming to an end. So if you liked it, please hit that like button. It helps the channel tremendously. It gets the video recommended to others as well. Consider subscribing so you don't miss an update, and we'll talk to you next time.